Now 9:30, so the inquiry is resumed. Before we start, usual announcements, mobile phones silent please, and we're not expecting a fire alarm, so if we hear one, it's a real thing, and we have to go out of one of the two fire exits either side, down the stairs, and we congregate in the council's car park. Don't come back until we're told it's safe to do so. Everybody able to use the stairs? Yes, good. All right, thank you very much. Well, we did the evening site visit yesterday evening, and thank you very much to Miss Bonnie, Mr. Gearing and Mr. Dygan for accompanying me on that. It was jolly useful. So that was good. It's a lovely evening for it too, so that's great. When we were there, we were talking about, not a case obviously, but we were just mentioning the walkover for the Southern Relief Road bit. And Mr. Dygan pointed out, sorry, not Mr. Gearing pointed out that the crops are growing in some of the sort of land that we're going to be walking over rather fast. So it might be rather difficult if we leave it too long. So I think we need to think about whether we can bring at least the southern. I don't know, would it apply to the northern one as well, do you think? Because that's all arable crops, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So
sorry, we'll check which crops are
maybe we bring that forwards.
We need to bring that forwards. And I was just wondering whether we were talking about ecology, weren't we? And the fact that we might not need all the time that... hang on a minute, where has it gone? So that's, oh gosh, sorry, hang on, I'm to highways now. So the ecology starts on the 29th, doesn't it? Right? And we've got 4 days, I think, programmed for that.
We do.
And I'm not sure that, well, famous
yes,
last words.
Yes, we do. But famous last words, yeah. But I think, because I've got, yes... Oh, what have we got? Dr. Baxter's on for 2 whole days, which seems, even if you look at the time estimates that we've given, you know, that we've actually given, now mine is not going to be as long as it was before, sort of thing, but it won't fill 2 days. So I wonder about maybe something like Friday the 2nd of May.
I was just wondering that.
Yeah.
Whether Friday might be a good time, at least to do one of them.
What should we check with John if he could do Friday the 2nd of May? Will he be home by then? Yes. We'll look into that. That should, from our side.
Bonnie, if you're not away.
No. What was the date? Sorry, on the.
Well, possibly only the 2nd of May. 2nd
of May, right?
Yeah, I should say if for whatever reason that proves impossible or whatever,
yes.
it might just be that with a bit of creative pruning it could be put into the following week also, but let's see if the
we've
2nd
got
of
3
May
days.
works.
No, we've only got 2 days archaeology, and then we've got the public rights of way.
Yeah.
RTS. Oh, have we?
That's
no, we're not.
No, we do. We're doing time estimates today for archaeology, but I think there's a real chance that that archaeology in due course is not 2 full days, but might say be a day or something, and that, you know, even if you allowed a full day for the Prow Round Table, there would potentially be a day in that week 5 that might be that you could do a road visit possibly.
Because Kent County Council they're here for archaeology, aren't they?
They're here for archaeology, yeah.
Right,
But you've probably not seen the proof yet because there's other things going on. But it's not enormously long, so I think 2 full days for archaeology in the end, you know, famous last words, but we could probably end up doing the business of that week, including the Prow Round Table, in 2 full days rather than 3 full days.
Well, I mean, we might be able to put the Prow Round Table to Thursday afternoon. Maybe.
We could, exactly, yeah. So that would potentially free up the 9th if the 2nd didn't work for anybody.
And I mean, I was thinking, Mr. Townsend, that if you're available, which you might not be, of course, when we do that walkover of the northern site, we could take in Frogmore Farmhouse. But I mean, that's obviously at your convenience. But you know, that will, you know, possibly be in that week of the 7th, 8th or 9th of May. Yeah, but we'll have to work that out. It's going to be a bit, see how we get on type thing.
There's someone always in the house, so we can make
Right,
that very easily.
I mean, I'm not expecting to spend a long time, but it'd be interesting to see inside and look at the views out, and obviously just wander around the garden or whatever.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's a plan, isn't it? Good, thank you very much then. So that was that. Now we had a document in from the council of these local list descriptions.
Being put in.
I don't know if people have seen that.
We have, yeah.
I haven't opened it, or all the documents and everything, but as I gather, it's in draft form at the moment. It hasn't been finally approved. Do you know? Well, I know Mr.
I think that
Dyke-
is Mr. Dutt. We know.
He's
we've
not
talked-
going to be here, I don't think, this morning.
Oh, is he not here today? Oh,
Well,
right.
no, he is here.
I think he's engaged on something else.
Oh,
saw
right.
him
Yeah.
in
Got
the
it. No,
corridor
but I
and
think
he
that
said
is right.
he-
It's a draft local list.
Yes.
It's the position is that it's not yet been finally approved by the council, but there is there's a possibility. Mr. Dygan says that it will be by the time we actually finish this inquiry, or by the time certainly the Secretary of State comes to decide. So he's
Well,
put it.
yeah, I mean, I was just thinking that shall we just hang, I mean, unless people want to access all that information, I wonder if it's best to hang fire on putting it as an inquiry document until it is actually
In
approved.
its final form. That's fine. We'd seen it already.
Yeah.
Dr. Mealy knows about it, but
Yeah.
what we were going to do, and we can obviously we don't mind how we play it. What we were going to do was wait until it's approved or published or whatever, formally adopted, and then we were going to ask perhaps to put in some short written representations on whatever it might, on if there are any implications from it. Dr. Mealy could maybe say just a few words about it now, just in its draft form, just to give you a flavour. But it's not going to be anything, long, but just because it will then be a new material consideration worth noting. Hopefully it'll happen before the end of the inquiry, because procedurally that'll make life a lot easier.
Well, if it doesn't, then I think it will go in as a draft, and then if it's approved at any time before the Secretary of State makes her decision, then the final document will be able to be taken into account.
Exactly,
won't
yeah. It can be drawn to her attention at
Yes,
that
exactly.
stage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's probably how we'll play it. But I'm just a bit aware of we've got so many documents that putting one in a draft and then having a final
Fine.
version.
So we'll keep it in
Everybody's got
abeyance.
a copy, so
Yeah.
you can refer to it if you want to, but we'll just hold off putting it in the
Thank you.
documents, I think. But if you want to I don't know quite how you want to do this.
I think maybe when he comes, because obviously Dr. Mean is about to be asked some questions
Yes, I
now,
think-
but I don't. And maybe at some convenient moment,
After
he
that,
could
maybe.
he could just say a few words about it. There's not going to be any particular questions. I'm just going to say, is there anything you'd like to say about
Do
it?
it with your re-examination.
I could do it in re-examination. Yeah,
And if you wanted to ask anything, then
Yeah.
obviously you can do so then.
fine. Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else anyone wants to raise before we start? No? Right. Okay, Mr. Barnes, it's all over to you for your cross-examination, please.
Thank you, Mom. Well, the context of my cross-examination is that obviously there's a high degree of agreement between the various experts, and as I indicated yesterday, my learned friend has covered quite a lot of the areas that I would have covered. So can I endorse his questioning on behalf of my clients? Our case is obviously as per the evidence of Dr. Doggett and Mr. Townsend, and what I'm going to do is just focus on a few key issues which I think weren't covered yesterday. Thank you. Well, good morning, Dr. Mealy. I'm going to start with Frognall Farmhouse, please. And just to orientate ourselves, so our case is that there is a high level of less than substantial harm, and your assessment is that there is a low level of less than substantial harm. And in your examination in chief yesterday, you stated that the urbanisation of the setting was harmful, but it was your view that it was of a low order of significance due to the diminished quality of the historic nature of the landscape, which is obviously a point that we differ on, but that's an evaluative judgment. But you also made the point that when you're close to the listed buildings, you said the new housing would not be an intrusive feature. Is that a fair summary of your position?
The second point, yes. Am I on? Yes. The second point, yes. I'm trying to recall exactly what I said. It's probably on YouTube. But just on the point, I think in relation to existing urban influences, madam, I recall making the observation that they had eroded to some extent the earlier rural setting. I think that's...
Well, that might be my language rather than yours,
No.
but eroded or diminished,
Yeah,
I think
I
we're...
think also you were talking about the change in the nature of the agricultural
yes.
background, because of, you mentioned the chalk pits and the brickyards and that sort of stuff.
Exactly, and I think I included in that, just to assist and briefly elaborate, I included, though, in that list of factors also the awareness one has in different places of the A2, for example, when you're looking at the farmhouse from the footpaths to the south, looking from the farmhouse, which you'll see, madam, as well as the increase in residential or use along the lane to the east, frequency of trains in that context. Sorry, that was a little bit of long.
No, not at all. The bit I was actually going to ask you about was the bit that I think we did agree on, which was that you said that when you're close to listed buildings, it was your view that the new housing would not be an intrusive feature. Yeah. So if we can have a look at inquiry document 112.2, please, which is the...
Sorry,
Is it inquiry documents? I'm sorry.
It's inquiry document 100.12.2, which is the distances plan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the distances plan, is that
Yeah.
right? Oh, I have that on paper, just that I didn't have the inquiry documents up, so sorry. And this is obviously the one relating to Frognall.
Yes. Yeah.
Just give me a minute.
So we can see there that the distance from the nearest proposed built development will be 63 metres.
Yes, that's measured from the barn.
Yes, yeah. And if I can next take you to the to core document 2.11, which is the parameter plan showing Frognall House.
2.11, 1 minute. Thank you, I've got that.
Thank you. So we can see to the south of Frognall House, we've got the purple hatched area, and then beyond that, we've got the development, and we've got the salmon coloured area, which will be buildings of up to 10 metres.
That's correct.
And then the darker shaded areas are buildings of up to 12 metres.
I'm just checking the key, sorry, just because it's a little small.
It's
Yeah.
not. Yes,
Yeah.
madam. Parameter plan is 2.11.
Does that give the heights?
It does, yeah. If
does,
you look at the key, Mum, the salmon coloured
Yeah.
hatching is up to 10 metres, residential up to 10 metres. And then the darker hatching is up to 12 metres.
You sure you've got the parameter plan, not the structuring plan? Hang on a minute.
Yeah, it's the parameter plan.
Hang on, just that.
Sorry, Mum.
Let's just look at it in 2.11. No, that's the height. Oh, I see the built heights. Did you say that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Apologies.
Not at all.
Okay, yes, carry on.
Okay. So yeah, we can see there that we've got development of up to 10 metres at the front, and then stepping back to development of up to 12 metres behind that, and that's going to be a minimum of 63 metres away from the boundary of the farmstead.
Correct.
So, given that that's approximately 3 stories, even allowing for the landscaping and the planting, that is going to be an intrusive feature when you perceive it from the listed buildings, isn't it?
Sorry, the 10 metres is up to 3 stories. Is that the point? Or?
Yeah, well, they both are, roughly.
Well, no, I don't think it will. I think, just to be clear, on a parameter plan of this nature, madam, I take 10 metres to allow for 2 stories with a roof, traditional residential construction, which would be sloping. And then the residential up to 12 metres, then I take potentially 3 floors with some kind of roof form in it. And I don't think it will be intrusive when you're in close proximity to the building, because looking at the building from within the farmyard, or the listed farmhouse from the farmyard, madam, I think your attention it's such a striking and interesting building. I think it holds your attention. And in close proximity to it, I think it really is, it's very present. It's very fascinating to look at, both because of its distinctive features, but also the variety of finishes that reflect its varied history. I think then when you're looking at to the extent you see and appreciate the Georgian facade, or that's what's called the Queen Anne facade, then you're in Lower Road. You're in Lower Road to the north, and the housing is set back. Now, you will obviously see the new junction for the access road, which is about 100 metres away. I wasn't asked about that, but I'll just...
I was going to come to that in a minute.
Oh, well, okay, well, I'll leave that one then. But likewise also, I'll just deal with the point in the immediate proximity, which I'm just going to take to be the farmstead, the former farmstead. And then approaching the group from the west along Lower Road, the setback of the housing taken together, I think, with screen planting, would reduce the presence of the housing as you come close to the listed building, and all of those same factors I described become relevant. The engrossing and engaging quality of the listed building and its intrinsic interest, which is where, it's a major proportion of its interest, really. So, no, I don't. And I think, because these buildings also are going to be 2-story houses with pitched roofs, and that setback is a significant distance away for that scale of development.
Okay, well, I'll leave it there, because obviously the inspector is going to visit the site and make her own assessment. So moving on to the junction of the access road, which will be to the east of Frognall House. If I can take you to Mr. Townsend's photographs, which are core document 43.2.3.
And these are the ones we had yesterday.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
And if I can refer you to, it's PDF 5 and it's image G.
Yes.
So we've got a view there, standing to the east of Frognall House, looking south. So this is where the proposed access road is going to go.
I think, sorry, just to be clear, I think this is directed east.
Yeah. Sorry, it's looking east.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can see here, can't we, that this is where the proposed access road is going to exit. So just looking at it now and just trying to visualise what that's going to look like, that's going to have quite a dramatic impact, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, it will be an urbanizing influence, and I take that into account in coming to my conclusion.
Yeah, thank you. That was all I wanted to say about that. And then finally on Frognall House, just to pick up on something that you said in your examination in chief yesterday, where you described the fields to the south as a prairie denuded of historic context. And as we've already alluded to, you set out your analysis of why that was very clearly. But the point I wanted to put to you was simply that whatever weight we give to the historic context that remains in that land, it is the case, isn't it, that such a large amount of modern development is going to eradicate what remains of it, regardless of what weight we give to it.
Oh, well, yes, there's no agricultural land retained, yes.
No. Thank you very much. So if we can move on now to the Tong Conservation Area. And our case is that there is a high level of less than substantial harm, and your case is medium. And I'd like to focus on the proposed bridge over the stream. And it's right, isn't it, that yesterday in your examination in chief, you said that the new road will be set away from the listed buildings in the north of the conservation area.
Yes?
Yep. And your conclusion of moderate harm or medium was that the core was based on that the core of the conservation area, those core listed buildings in the north, wouldn't be affected by the road. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
And also that the intrinsic archaeological value that is present in that, I think of it as a panhandle, but in the sort of handle part, or the north-south part that includes the stream, would be retained. And I say that because it's clear from the adopted appraisal, Madam, that a large, significant part anyway, of the significance of the conservation area derives from that archaeological interest, which, as I said, is intrinsic.
Yeah. And you also said that, in your view, the distance between the new road and that northern core of the conservation area was significant. And I think your evidence was that you said it would be 276 metres from the road to the nearest listed building. Is that right?
Yes, I think that's, I'm just going to the distance plan again, which is in the same inquiry document bundle, 100.12. And just to remind myself, the distance from the southern end of the Victorian Mill to the road at its closest is 250 meters to a spur, but to the main relief road is a little bit beyond that, even beyond that. And as I explained in evidence, Madam, that road position is also well south to the line of hedgerow trees that form the southern part of the conservation area boundary. So I think those are really, significant distances, because it takes a little while to walk that distance. And so the experience of being in open landscape as you approach the assets is retained, albeit truncated, but is retained, and I still think preserves, a sense of their separation and their position in an open landscape.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So if we can next look at the core document 2.15.
Parameter plan.
That's right, yeah. So this is the parameter plan. Just to remind ourselves, or for me to remind myself as much as anything, where the road will go. So obviously to the left of the plan, we've got the conservation area, and we can see the road travelling west to east and crossing the stream. And then next, if we could look at core document 2.22. Which is the Tong Country Park bridge crossing over the stream.
Yeah. And that's an image I have in my evidence as well.
Yeah.
For reference purposes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
2.22. Thank you. So this is a top-down sort of visualization of how that might look. And just zooming in on the crossing over the stream itself, we can see there's a 2-lane road and there's a footway with a cycleway, and then we can see the stream underneath that.
Correct.
And it's a rather obvious point, but if it's a bridge, it's necessarily going to be elevated, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I understand, yes.
Yeah. And then if we go back to the parameter plan 2.15,
Yes.
and if we look at the point where the road crosses the conservation area, which is obviously where it will cross the stream, would you agree that when you're standing there looking south, you're in a dip because you've got a bund on your right and then the land slopes up to your left?
Oh, sorry, madam.
Just trying to work out which way, sorry, you're asking.
So if you're looking at the parameter plan, madam, and you're standing essentially where the new road is proposed to cross the conservation area, and you're looking south, and you're sort of travelling south, as it were, if you were walking,
Sorry.
the land on the west is raised up because you've got a bund, and then you've got the attenuation pond for Stones Farm beyond that.
Yeah, I understand there'll have to be some earth engineering works to
Yeah.
get the road over the
Yeah,
stream.
so
And I take that, I assume
Yeah,
that.
that's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
And to cut to the point of the question, the point that I'm making is that if you've got such a substantial piece of infrastructure and it's raised in order to take account of the undulations of the land, I would suggest it would at least be perceived from those listed buildings in the core of the conservation area. You might not necessarily be able to see it, but you'd certainly perceive it, wouldn't you?
I think that's highly unlikely, given the level of screening and what's proposed in terms of interposing development, because the if you're in, and I showed photographs yesterday, madam, of the collection of mill buildings, they have a very close relationship one with the other. You don't really have an opportunity to look between them very far to the south because of existing vegetation. So the buildings provide enclosure. They have a strong grouping. There's landscape associated with them, and to the south of them, around the pond, the mill pond. And then there's the orientation of the road. So I do not think there will be, I've concluded, I should say, that there will be no intervisibility from the road that passes between those buildings. And obviously, if you're looking at those buildings across the mill pond or looking at the group from the northeast, because the conservation area appraisal has some views from the setting to the northeast as well, that interposing vegetation and landform would mean you would not be aware of that arrangement. In saying that, I have made certain assumptions about, the actual height of the crossing, but in the bridge plan that we were looking at just a moment ago, there's a precedent study, and I understand that it would not be some sort of elevated roadway, but rather something that ramps up and over, which is not dissimilar, albeit it'll be bigger, than the bridge that exists at the moment to the north. It takes the road over the stream. So I don't think it would be a elevated structure that would be visible above a tree line.
Sorry, which, do you mean when you say the road, when you say the road to the north, do you mean the road going through the mill
Yes,
buildings?
exactly. Yeah, which crosses the stream by a bridge. And in fact, you see an image of that in the sheet that Mr. Barnes took me to, which was it 2.22, I think.
Yes, 2.22.
Yeah. If you've got that, you have it open, madam, and you see the lower left.
Oh,
Yeah. So presently the stream is spanned by a bridge. It's clearly a bridge of some interest and age. It's the lower left.
yeah. I'm just wondering where this isn't from the conservation area, though, is it? Or any existing one?
Yeah, that is within the conservation area. That is just south. Trying to find it on the plan, as I understand it, because I haven't been able to get down to that point. But I walked over the bridge.
Bridge just south. You mean near the spring?
Yes, near
It's
the
just a
spring.
wooden bridge, isn't it? Don't think it's something like
No,
that.
I think this is from the conservation. Just give me a moment. I'll find it in the conservation area plan. Sorry.
Do you mean a bridge down by the mill?
Yes, that's right. So that is a bill.
Oh, I
That's at the
see.
other end, where the stream effectively continues through the sluice.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. And
About the other way.
so I think that's a view from the north of it.
Yeah.
So, just sorry for that sort of rambling answer. There is a bridge already over the stream, but at its northern exit from where there's a sluice from the mill pond.
Perhaps we could look at that when we go on our
Yeah, it's
northern site visit.
yeah, it's a very interesting change in level. You'll spot it straight away, and then there's the railway line just beyond, which is fine. So what the designer here is suggesting is that a similar language and materials could be used in the detailed design of the bridge. And again, my understanding is it would not be elevated on for example, a concrete structure, but it would be on earth-based.
So, just to be absolutely clear, when you made your assessment, just looking at the 2.22 again, so it's quite a substantial road, isn't it? It's 2 lanes,
Yeah,
and a footway
it
and a
is.
cycleway. But when you made your assessment was on the basis that the bridge which would carry that infrastructure would look like the bridge that we've just been looking at in the north of the conservation area.
No, I wouldn't. I didn't make that assumption because that's a very small road. It's just a little kind of lane-like thing that goes down to some buildings. I made my assessment on the basis of the drawing above that, which is what I reproduce in my evidence as the basis for my assessment.
We don't have a
No,
No.
I don't think we do, Mum. As far as
elevation,
no,
do we, for that?
no,
I'm not aware of one, no, madam.
no. But you think it's your assessment was on the basis that piece of infrastructure would be at least in the style of that bridge that we were looking at.
I don't really take the style of it into account. I think you've asked
Vernacular.
me some questions. Mr. Barnes has asked me some questions about this. I don't comment on the style of the bridge actually in my evidence because it's not before me and it hasn't been done. I'm simply drawing your attention, madam, to what was on the drawing and the suggestion that's been made. So I haven't taken that design as mitigation into account.
Okay, thank you. And then if we can move on to a different bridge, not in the conservation area, but just close to it. If we can look at core document 2.15 again, please.
That's the parameter plan.
That's the parameter plan, yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry, what was it?
2.15, 2.15, Mum, the parameter plan.
Oh, the parameter plan. Yep.
Yeah.
That is the 2952/412 parameter. Yes, the one we were looking at earlier.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, that's right. And then if we're looking at the conservation area, and if we look to the northwest to Lomas Road, we can see where the road crosses the railway. So there's obviously going to be a railway bridge there, isn't there? And then if we can turn to, I appreciate this is probably not going to be a document you've got to hand, but if we can look at core document 1.19.6, which is a transport assessment.
Hold on a minute.
I'll just let you find that.
Just to be clear, I haven't looked at this document.
Okay, well,
I'm happy to answer questions.
yeah,
on the
no,
drawing,
that's fine. It's going to be a very simple points.
Hold on a minute.
I mean, I'm aware of this document, but I haven't
Yeah.
studied it in preparing my
No,
evidence.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So this is the Transport Assessment Volume 6 Highway Infrastructure Proposals.
That's right. Yeah,
Thank you.
and if we could, when you've got that, if we could go to PDF 30, please.
Yes.
And if you look in the bottom right corner, we've got a sort of schematic of the bridge structure, and it's design data and assumptions.
This is not oriented north-south, is it?
No, I think, well, it's across,
Am I
it's
right?
a cross section, isn't it? Because you've got the railway line
Hold on.
bottom.
What would the plan is?
Is it?
But, well,
I think so.
to be,
Well, I'm just.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. I'm struggling. I'm just.
Do you know where it is? It's over the railway.
Yes, I know where that is.
Oh.
Absolutely. I'm familiar with that. I'm just trying to find this schematic drawing that's just been referred to.
Well,
Sorry.
if you look at
Is there an inset box at the bottom?
there is, yes, it's PDF
Thank you.
30, and
Okay,
as
yeah.
you say, there's an inset box in the bottom right, and that's the only bit of the plan I wanted to draw your
Thank you very
attention
much.
to.
You can put it up and
Yeah, I'll just let you have a look at that.
make it bigger.
So this is the bridge crossing Lomas Road and the railway. And just to draw your attention to a couple of measurements, so if we look at the railway lines, we can see the assumed vertical clearance is 5.1 metres.
Yes.
And then above that, we've got the bridge soffit, carriageway level, and then there's 1.8 metres design allowance for the bridge structure.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we've got an overall span of 37 metres.
Yes.
And the only point I wanted to make was that obviously this is going to be another significant piece of infrastructure very close to the conservation area and actually quite close to the northern core of the conservation area, isn't
No,
it?
I don't think it will. Well, it will be near to it, I agree, but I don't think it'll have any effect. But before giving an answer, so no, but just to elaborate the point, can I just confirm the dimensions then? So 5.3 clearance to the underside of the bridge, plus...
5.1.
Oh, sorry, that...
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
It says 5.1 here.
To the under... Okay, all right, so 5.1 plus the makeup of the road is 1.8.
Yeah.
And then presumably there's a parapet or something on that road. Is that right, or does that include it? Design allowance for bridge structure.
Yeah, I think that's the 1.8, I think.
Okay, so 6.9. What I don't have in front of me are any topo references for the conservation area itself, but I will answer the question. I just want to get a sense for the height.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
broad terms. With that in mind, I'm sorry to answer the question. I need to go back to the parameter plan.
I think it's 5.3 actually, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it was, well, 5.3.
5.1 to the bottom of the
Yeah.
railway track, isn't it?
Yeah,
5.3 from ground level plus 1.8. Is that right?
yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking, madam, because I see Lomas Road at 5.3 to a soffit.
I see.
I think the 5.1 is the vertical clearance
Yeah.
for the intercity. So that's the height of the train, I guess. Yeah, basically. So I think it's correct to say it's 5.3 to the soffit of the bridge, which means the overall height increases. Yeah. So they then make it some quick. Yes, exactly 7.1. So that's well, we don't have the AODs. Anyway, I think having been drawn to the heights of the bridge, I can now answer the question. I think I have enough information to give a view on it. So if we go back to the parameter plan, and I just want to check for scale in this drawing. Do forgive me. Just give me a moment. And I'm sorry, it's just that I haven't been taking.
No.
before.
I fully appreciate you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have looked at this, so that's absolutely fine.
I mean, I'm aware of the bridge.
Yeah.
So, and I just want to. oh, it's rough and ready. But I mean, is it about 180 meters away from the nearest point of the conservation area? I've just done this thing that you do with your pen, holding it up to drawing and then putting it without. It's on that order. I think we can probably agree it's on the order of about 180, 200. It might be more or less that. That's to the edge of the conservation area, which is marked in blue, madam, on the parameter plan you appreciate. And there is a footpath then that skirts the conservation area to the northwest, but which is outside the conservation area. Now, that part of the conservation area comprises the remains of the castle. But when I say remains of the castle, I mean it's the land where we know the castle is, because there are no, I didn't see any obvious upstanding remains, or even humps and bumps and things, but it's there. I don't mean to be disrespectful, obviously. The core of the conservation area with the listed buildings and associated historic buildings is around a bend and actually lower down. So the land rises as you leave the conservation area. Then you've got 180 or 200 meters. And then, yes, you do have a higher. And I looked at that crossing point on the visit I did on Friday with the team, specifically because I'd understood it had come up as an issue or a point of discussion. So I think from the core of the conservation area, there'd be no intervisibility. And then in terms of character and change, I mean, the conservation already includes a railway embankment. So its character is already influenced by, heavy engineering and earth moving. So this is an addition to it, but given the distance, topography, and orientation of the conservation area, I don't think there would A, either be any intervisibility, or B, that it would in any way undermine your appreciation of its special interest.
Okay, thank you very much. So if we can move next to St Nicholas Church. So our case is, well, I think we're in agreement actually. Our case is middle and your case is medium. So we're agreed on the lessons, the level of harm. I just wanted to pick up on a point you made in your evidence yesterday about the significance of the views from the church tower. Because you made the point, didn't you, that public access wasn't particularly easy. And I think your view was that it wouldn't be a place where members of the public would frequently go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I understand it's occasional arranged access.
Yeah. So if I could just take you to your appendices at page 62. It's 37.4.3, and it's Dr. Miele's consolidated appendices.
This is the setting guidance.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and that's page PDF 62 or page 60 if you're in paper. So, as Dr. Miele says, this is the setting guidance, and if I could refer you to the box on the coloured box on the right, which says Part 1, Settings and Views. And if we could look at the second paragraph of the second column.
Sorry, I just have lost you. You referred to a box. Can you? Are you on page?
It's page PDF 62.
Oh, I'm on the paper.
Right, it's page 60, paper copy.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Sorry.
Not at all.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, and if we could look at so it's a coloured box, Part 1, Settings and Views, and if we could look at the second column, second paragraph of the second column, it says the contribution that setting makes to the significance of the heritage asset does not depend on there being public rights or an ability to access or experience that setting. This will vary over time and according to circumstance. So, isn't it correct that it's the important point when we're thinking about this view of the setting from the tower is the fact that it exists rather than the public's ability to access it? Because, as you say, it's not the easiest thing to access, but the importance of it is that it's there.
I have to qualify my answer whichever way I go on this point. So to be absolutely clear, yes, but with a big caveat. I mean, this comes up a lot in these cases, madam, I'm sure you appreciate. I mean, you know, you're in the middle of a field looking at a housing scheme, and there'll be a view of a great church from private land, not from a public right-of-way. And it is true that that field becomes part of the setting of the church, and you can appreciate that part of the setting of the church. It's absolutely right. But there has to be a sensible limit to the weight you give to those views. Now, in my example, and I think as applicable to this case, the ease of access is one of those considerations that's relevant. But I think also there is an important point about the intention behind the viewing experience, if I can express that. So I maybe it was a too rapid example I gave yesterday, or I talked about it too quickly, but it was I gave the example of Warwick Church. You may or may not know it, I don't know, but but it's a great 17th century church tower that is a regular public attraction. It was, or indeed Warwick Castle. These are features or buildings that were designed with high level viewing in mind. People did, even in the 17th century, go up to the tops of buildings and look out. And certainly a castle has it for defensive reasons. So I'd say that these views from the top are what I would call incidental views. You know, you happen to have them from up there, but there's nothing in the design, there's nothing intentional about those views, so they're incidental. Now, the fact that the public can access them, and that they are great, because we've been up there and had a look at them, I think is something to consider. But in the circumstances, I don't myself give it any particular weight, because it's incidental. I mean, effectively, you're up there for purposes, you know, the access is for purposes of maintenance. And you yourself saw, madam, when you were up there, that in fact the lead gutter that you walk around is only on 3 sides, and that in some ways the fourth side looking east, I mean, you can only appreciate that sort of slightly. I had to hang out and put my head through a parapet and take a photograph. So I don't attribute that much, so the concluding conclusion of the answer is I don't attribute that much weight to it. But I think you have to take it into account, and it's for you to form a judgment on. But for me, it's not one of those sorts of views that, going back to the point, communicates something specifically about the architectural interest of the church, which is a point of design and fabric, or indeed anything more about its historic interest and its connection with the landscape, which I think is manifest already.
Thank you very much. Final heritage asset, actually one that I don't think we've looked at to date, which is Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse, which if I can firstly, to orientate ourselves, if I can take you to page 93 of your proof, which is for document 37.4.2.
Yeah, yes, that is very helpful to be oriented towards this. Thank you. Because it's a lot.
So it's
Which number is it? Can
it's
you remind me?
71. So it's, as I'm sure you know,
yes.
it's right in the south. I'll
Yes.
just wait for the inspector to find it.
Yeah, and let me just,
It's page 90, PDF 93, Ma'am. Oh, sorry, you on paper, Ma'am. It's don't know. It's page 93, actually, Ma'am.
that's the plan, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's
It's not paginated, the plan page, so, but it's...
Yeah. And we can find Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse. It's number 71, so it's right in the...
And it's right on the edge of the science park,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I'm also trying to remind myself with some imagery, but yeah, I mean, I've seen it obviously, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. It's certainly in the environmental statement.
Really
No,
to mind offhand.
exactly. I'm sure someone in the team can give a reference to that.
It's not one I have, I'm afraid. So
Yeah, if you don't mind just taking a moment.
Sorry, just to say, I'm so sorry. Just before we go off looking for the photograph, there's number 71 on the plan is Woodstock Cottages, and number 84 on the plan is Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse. And I just wanted to make sure which one we were.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got the wrong Woodstock. Yeah, thank you very much. It's Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse.
So it's 84.
Apologies. Yeah.
No, right, now we'll just give us a moment.
Thank you very much. Very grateful.
Grade 2 or a non-designated?
Grade 2, isn't it, Dr. Mealy? Yeah.
Right, I've found a pic. So a reference to for the farmhouse, for all of them actually, they're on the same page. Core document 9.2.111. This would be the heritage chapter of the ES. So 9.2.111, and then within that, it's paginated 64 or PDF 66.
Thank you very much. Very grateful.
Well, there's the cottages, but then there's and then there's the farmhouse.
Yeah, which is Woodstock Home Farm. So
There's oh gosh.
Well, the one I thought I was asking about was
there's three
Woodstock.
photographs.
Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse was the one.
Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse, I think, is bottom right-hand side of the page that I've just said. Is it 5.50? It looks like. They're all called very, very similar things. That's the.
and that's number 80.
Say that, yes.
84.
84, and that's grade 2, isn't it, Dr. Mealy? And I think the only point I wanted to make is that that's one where you have identified a medium level of harm. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me just check. Or if you have the reference.
It's page 104 of your proof.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's page 104, and it starts at paragraph 8.124.
Yes. Yes, the medium impact is agreed by ourselves and us and the council.
Yeah, absolutely. It's agreed, and it's obviously a setting harm, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah, and so based on what you said yesterday in terms of your calibration of setting harm, in terms of the significance that you give to setting harm, if you're saying it's medium, that's actually on your calibration fairly serious.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. That was the only point I wanted to make about that.
Yeah. And I think the reason for that, madam, is that the new science park buildings will encroach upon the rear and in the immediate setting of the principal elevation of the building. Yes.
The primary elevation.
I think that's right. This is the one from the street.
So this isn't the primary elevation then?
Let me just think. I'm going to have to orient myself. I think, madam, because this has only just come up, I'm just, moving around to remind myself of,
Yeah, that's fine.
Take your time, Dr. Mealy, because
Yeah.
we're looking at
just
something
trying to
ourselves.
find a picture of it in context.
Um,
Oh, I see, yeah. So it's
84. Is it right? Is the road in front of us, or is this the, maybe this is the main elevation at the back, is it?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, actually.
I wonder if Google Maps would help. Did you say it's on Broad Oak Road?
Just confirming
Looking.
whether
That's what I
it
think.
looks like it. I'm just confirming.
Yeah. I think that's the primary elevation. I think it actually
We think
faces.
that actually is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it. So that's the primary elevation. We think from. I think Broad Oak Road
That's
would be
right.
where you'd be standing, but it's at some.
It must be
It is
set-
at some. There's quite a considerable
setback.
sort of setback. There's
Yeah.
there's a guard. I think it's a front garden.
Yeah,
or
there is,
something, a large green area. But so you are. That is actually from the road, even though it looks like there's a garden in front.
Yes.
So you said because of the effect on the primary elevation,
Yes.
but if that's at the back, that's not the primary elevation. is
No.
it?
Well, then I think it's facing the development.
Well, then that can't be facing onto Broad Oak Road.
No,
can it?
exactly.
Right.
Sorry about this, madam. It's just that
That's
there are
all
a lot
right.
of
Sorry, it's just a question of fact
countryside.
as to where it is. It's on. The primary elevation
Yes.
faces Broad Oak Road. It is on the house is on the east of Broad Oak
Yeah.
Road. The primary elevation faces west over Broad Oak Road, unless I'm
Yes,
hopefully the rules
there we
but
go.
I can help with this. So it does face, as it were, in the direction of the.
I'll
Yes.
tell you why I think you've. Shall I tell you why I think you've? It's nothing to do with the science part. I think it's because of that little parcel of residential development opposite,
Yeah.
which is actually, if you walk along there, it's slightly the land rises.
Hmm.
So I think that's probably why you think
Yes.
it was.
Yes.
not
It's
nothing to do
so
with
that the
science part.
yes, that's right.
It does, though. It does face. I think if it's number 84. If you look at, sorry, I don't mean to. I just want to make sure that we all know where it is.
Yeah, no,
It does.
that's
It
fine.
does face, doesn't it? The Science Park extension. I think.
Well, yes, but that's at the back.
No. That's my point. It is actually at the front. The 80. If you look at as I understand it, page 93 of Dr. Mealy's proof.
Yeah, got that.
The number 84
Yeah,
is.
between the science park and that bit of.
Yeah, so the house looks
residential.
out over the science park and extension, as it were, the purple.
Well,
So that is, it is facing, its front, as it were, elevation, faces out over that sort of purpley wash over the road. Is that correct?
depends where the road comes. I thought the road came up
And it
about
depends-
where that
right.
residential parcel is.
I think I might have got the road wrong, doesn't it? It got the road on the wrong side. Absolutely right. I'm going to stop talking now.
Primary elevation does face east.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my.
It
Can't
faces
help. Made it worse. Okay. Yeah. Everyone
No,
else
I'm
understands
right.
it other than me.
You were very convincing, though.
I was. Well, that's good. That's reassuring. No, you were right. I was wrong. And I,
So have we sorted out?
I think we have. I thought the road was on the other side, but you're right. You're right. So the science park would be to its rear, just as the inspector
Right,
said.
yeah. So
So there's
do you want to just?
a significant
At the back.
Yeah, at the back, exactly. And so that, in my judgment, represents a very intense impact of development that comes with.
But you're not worried about the residential at the front?
What do you mean? Worried?
Well, can you not see that parcel?
Sorry, microphone.
Sorry, madam. And it's encapsulated to the east as well, so that there's residential that comes down on. So basically, both aspects, to the rear and to the east, become developed, which is what leads to the level.
Okay. Sorry, I was interrupting there.
Sorry.
Thank you. And I think whilst we're there, and I don't want to cause any further confusion, it would be worth also looking at number 84, which is Woodstock.
No, 70.
That's what, that was it.
Oh,
Oh gosh, no.
Which is,
Yeah.
71 Woodstock Cottages, which is in the same area. Apologies for the confusion. And again, we can see there that's very close to the science park. Would you accept that that heritage asset is going to be impacted by light and noise from the scheme? Yeah, I'm afraid I don't have a page reference, so I'll have to find it myself.
so Woodstock Cottage. That wasn't in my evidence. I think that was in the
The
Heritage Statement of Common Ground, wasn't it?
It is in your evidence. Well, it's
Take me to the
certainly,
page
it's certainly
reference.
in the table on page 7.
The conclusion, just if it helps, the conclusion of Dr. Mealy on it is recorded in the table at the back, and that is on. Let me just get it. This is it's appendix number 6 of Dr. Mealy is called assets not covered in the proof of evidence southern site, and then within that,
Yes.
on page 8D, on paginated page 8D of that at the top, numbers. I can't actually remember which one you said now, but
26,
anyway, number
I think.
26 is
26.
Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse, and number 27 is Woodstock Cottages.
Yep.
So it was paginated 8D 80, and then it's in the
I think
table.
it's 82. Yeah, paginated
PDF 82, yeah.
82.
And then it's not number 26 is Woodstock Cottage Farmhouse, which is not coloured in because
It's actually
because-
Woodstock Cottages.
oh, is it?
that were- yeah.
Sorry,
No, not
that's
at
fine.
all.
That's
It's-
number 27.
Yeah.
So that one is coloured in, and that's coloured in green because
Yeah. So it's
it's low, but it's coloured in green at the bottom, as you see from the key, because Miss Soanes and Dr. Mealy agree. I think that's what the green means.
yeah. So it's agreed at a low level, isn't it?
And in that instance, I think there's also been, there's some variation from the ES.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in the table. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. So,
And there's
yeah. Sorry.
the factors that were taken into account were new link road, that there's a road to the eastern boundary application site. Receptors of distance of approximately 80 meters. And as I was saying earlier, the scale, commercial, and commercial nature.
Dr. Milo, your microphone's off.
Sorry. The factors the ES took into account, in which I agree, are the proximity of road and the extent and scale of the commercial development comprising the extension of the Kent Science Park, which are, as I'm just praising the ES at this point, which for your reference, madam, is 7.134 and following.
And, so sorry.
That's CD 9.2.111. And I'll give you the paragraph number, probably. Yeah. So paragraph 7.134 to 7.145.
It's on pages 106 to 107 or PDF 108 to 109.
Sorry, was there another question?
Yeah. Well, the question, well, 2 points. One was, did you take into account in your analysis that the waste recycling centre is proposed to be located to the east of that heritage asset?
I took into account what's shown on the relevant part of the parameter plan, and yes, it's a general intensification of development around there, including commercial and non-residential.
Yeah. So you'd agree it
Yes.
would be affected by noise and light and so
Well,
on?
I assume it would be, yes,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That was all I
You're
wanted
welcome.
to ask.
That's all right, that's all right.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Milo. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Of course, yes.
We've got anything actually. All right. Let's just have a look and see if there's anything left.
Absolutely. I will ask him about this draft list in a minute, but after you've had.
Okay. Yes, of course. Hang on, where are my questions gone? Let's just see. Just as a matter of fact, or sometimes I think the distances in your proof don't always accord completely with the distances in the distances plan.
Yes, that's right.
So who do we give?
The distance plan, which was
I
measured.
think the plan actually came later.
Well, that's it, madam, because
Probably, yeah. That's what I wanted.
yeah. So I was doing approximate measurements using the
that's
scale
okay.
on the
That's
paper.
what I
So
know.
yeah, we weren't able to agree the distances plan before exchange.
Okay, thank you. What's that? Sorry. Yeah, it's just a very minor thing, really. I think paragraph 863.3 of your proof. Just tell me when you got that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now that I just didn't quite understand what you meant. I think is really what is all.
Let me just
Okay.
read for context, madam, and I'll
Yeah.
answer the question.
I don't know what when you said reconfiguration. Did you mean just changing it from agricultural to
Yes.
parkland? Is that what you meant?
Yes. Well, also, I understand during the application process that the concept for that parkland area was changed, and the intention is for it to be more natural and semi-natural open space.
It's just for your note, madam. It goes along with what's said at 6.24.4 on page 74.
The proof.
And the proof, yeah. Which is explaining things that were done in 2021.
Oh, I
Yes.
see.
Yeah. Sorry, madam. I should have. This section is where I record my understanding from discussions with my colleagues about how
Okay.
the heritage sensitivities were taken into account in the evolution of the master plan.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Yeah, just a general thing. So your mitigation in Appendix 9 of your appendices, you don't need to particularly turn it up, but
Okay.
but anyway.
Got it got it here.
Yeah, but I just wondered, I mean, had you thought, this is obviously just a draft, first of all, did you give it any weight at all in your assessment? And secondly, have you got any idea as to what mechanism, I mean, is that proposed to be something that will happen, and therefore something that the perhaps Section 106 agreement would address, or maybe a planning condition, or is this just something that could happen?
Yeah.
I just wonder what.
Just for context, I think there are discussions with the council on the conditions that are ongoing
Right,
about
well,
this topic.
Okay.
I'll just give you my understanding.
Yeah.
But I'll leave the final mechanism of delivery to
Yeah.
that discussion.
But
I'll
really,
just-
so I suppose it's what weight.
Yeah. So
You gave
in getting to medium, I did not take these into account. You know, sometimes there's this thing called the internal heritage balance. It's rolled out at these inquiries where you think, well, there's some harm and some benefit, and put them all together, and what's the net outcome? I didn't do that exercise.
I don't
something-
really hold with that.
Yeah, well, you know, anyway, these things get a
Anyway,
little bit artificial
go.
sometimes. But I mean, I think, though, madam, I would invite you to give that significant weight. And the reason is not just the commitment, I'll talk about that in a minute, to further archaeological investigations, which I think is relevant. It's not just to the interpretation, but also the proposals involve works to landscape features which are historically relevant. So, for example, works of maintenance to significant trees, improvements in public footpaths, the works that could be undertaken to the spring and to the stream in order to make it more obvious. And at this stage, you know, there's another stage of work that's required for that to take place. But in relation to outline applications I've dealt with, both at application or appeal stage, it's very common for there to be a conservation strategy or document which is delivered on a phased basis to be agreed, and in connection normally with a condition, but then also with a planning obligation. And the condition would normally reference something like, you know, the preparation of a conservation management and landscape strategy, just one mouthful of words, to be agreed by in writing by the council. And the people who are party to that in this case would be clearly the landscape designers dealing with the reserve matters and the archaeologists really, and probably arboriculturalists, because those three disciplines at least go into this, these improvements. And I do invite you to give significant weight to it, because there is no, as far as I'm aware, scheme of management for any of these features. And I'm very familiar with the way water features degrade over time without a management regime. For example, through my work on historic parklands, where you have similar sorts of features that get silted up, and you lose the channel, and you don't know where it is anymore. So it does seem to me that the condition of this part of the asset really would benefit from these works.
Yeah, I mean, well, what you're saying, I think, is that this would be a benefit to be taken
Yes, it
into
would be.
account in the planning balance.
Yes, it would be, madam.
But in order to take it into account, of course, first of all, it is quite important to know the sorts of things that, one has in mind, which you have elucidated, and also that they can be achieved, or there's a mechanism. So we'll no doubt deal with that in the conditions session. But just interested to know. But you haven't actually taken it into account in your assessment,
Except to say I give it some weight, but I haven't used it as against the harm. No, and I agree. This is a scope. There's the mechanism, which I think is pretty standard for the delivery of these kinds of things through landscape management plans, conservation plans. But the level of detail is normally something that happens after. But I think the categories that have been identified here, so areas of work, are credible ones based on discussions within the teams, and which seem to me not to, be novel, for example, in the sort of works that they require. So, archaeology, interpretation, landscape enhancement, all stuff that is routinely done. I'm not aware of any particular challenges requiring more information at this stage.
No, I wasn't suggesting there was.
Yeah. Well, no, but anyway, it seems adequate to me.
Okay.
And likewise with the highways treatment on Rodmersham Church Street Conservation Area.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Right, okay. Just a sec. Okay, paragraph 8.82 of your proof. You say, have you got that?
Yes.
You say a large area of land east and southeast of the conservation. This is Tunstall Conservation
Correct.
Area we're talking about. East of the conservation area and comprised of some very large fields is left open. Well, we can see where that is. And there is a large area of landscape in the red line, open to the east and across a similar distance. And I was just wanted to know exactly where you were talking about.
So on figure 8.6,
Yeah.
I had in mind, if you run a line directly east from the conservation area, there's a green.
The Eco
wedge.
Park, I think it is.
Yes,
isn't it?
exactly.
I thought that was, but I just wanted to check.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you very much. I think I'm clear on this, but let's just make absolutely sure. 8.102. This is we're now in Rodmersham Green Conservation Area. And we've got, where's the plan? I thought you had the conservation area plan in here somewhere.
Oh, that's. We have to go to the. I think we have to go to the
Okay,
appraisal.
let's go to the appraisal. Can someone remind me where it is?
It is in the proof, sorry. It's on page 66 of the proof.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yes, cool.
So it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you. Let's just go to that then.
And your question was 8.102, madam, I think.
Yeah, but this is actually, I wanted the, I wanted the plan with the views.
Oh, that might not be the right one. Sorry, no.
Oh no, it is here. Here we are. It's on page six.
yes. It's on the facing page, isn't it? It's
Oh, yeah,
67,
67.
Page 67, and you said, the southern application will be discernible from the 3 key views which face towards the southern site. I could see 2 of them.
Yeah,
Just
I think that's
wondering which one you mean.
I think
Other
that's
one?
probably an error, madam.
Is it?
Yeah,
Because there are a few 3 views, but one of them is
Yeah,
an inward facing one.
that's right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. One more. Oh yes, we've talked about Milstead, and you said that you didn't think there'd be any.
No intervisibility.
No.
No.
And just to be clear, in terms of the, I think the light and the noise and that sort of thing.
Oh, well, so I can't really, well, yes, so just to clarify those 2 points. My judgment, based on experience, is that at the moment, in relation to noise, the M2, based on my visit, is a pretty constant background presence. And I'm sure a junction introduces some additional noise, but candidly, I would be surprised if there were any discernibly significant increase over the distances we're talking about. And the reason I say that is because of sort of rolling landform that interposes buildings, enclosures around buildings, walls, for example, and dense woodland cover. And I think those 3 things together would make it unlikely that there any. I mean, I have worked on sort of infrastructure projects. I just think it's unlikely there would be any noticeably greater impact. And as to light, well, I didn't visit at night, so I don't know. But I think the same factors would apply. Welcome.
That's it. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
So you've got
I'm just going to ask one thing, I think, which is just to do with the. You're aware, are you, Dr. Mealy? I think I understand you are. Obviously, it hadn't been submitted yet, and it still not actually been formally accepted. But just try and get your take on it, on the council's, if you like, emerging draft local list.
I've looked at the draft because
okay.
I was alerted to it
You were
before I
alerted
began
to it.
evidence. Actually,
Right, and we know the sort of status is, we understand from Mr. Diagon that it's sort of it's moving through the process and may well become the actual local list adopted at some point over the next few months. So really, just to give you an opportunity to, maybe things change, you have to put something in writing, but just to say what, if anything, there is in it that's of relevance to the evidence that you've given so far, and if you've got any high-level observations about it, then obviously now's your chance.
well, madam, I think there. Obviously, the ES looked at a large number of non-designated heritage assets. The exercise we'll, I think, probably have to do when it's adopted is to identify those in the ES which are also on the local list. And I say that because it seems to me there's a difference between an NDHA which is on the local list and one which isn't. An NDHA on the local list has been put there because of through a level of professional scrutiny. And my normal practice in these cases would be to say that they have a higher heritage value than NDHAs which aren't on the local list. And bearing in mind, this is a local list that was prepared as I understand it, in the context of the emerging applications, where there are a lot of NDHAs. So I think the exercise, if and or when it's adopted, would be just to identify any that overlap between the two. Now, I haven't been able to do that exercise. There hasn't been time. So I can't really give any more advice or opinion on that.
Do you think, I mean, I don't know whether, I mean, I haven't even had a look at it, but we haven't got Mr. Dygan here, have we? Whether it would include all of them.
Well, I can tell. I've done enough of a sift
Yeah.
to tell you it doesn't.
Oh, right, okay.
With a colleague, it identified 4 in total
What, on the southern site?
across the both sites. But that's the initial sift. 4 of the total 30 odd, I think, that were taken to further assessment. And the one that, I'll be very candid, I didn't chase everyone down, but the one that stood out was the Oast House
On London Road?
Correct. I didn't see any of the others that figured in deliberations, but I don't want to, that's a, I mean, in recording that, please bear in mind, it's just my initial sift.
Got any sort
Which I gave you because you asked me, and but I don't want to mislead you, obviously.
No.
But we found.
Right, you even managed to have a look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, I don't know what you think, but whether it might be a useful exercise to do actually, because I mean, I don't know how likely it is that. I mean, it's all been put together for committee approval, hasn't it? So I'm just wondering whether it's likely, I don't know how Swell works, but whether there's going to be much challenge if the professional officers are recommended that certain assets are...
I don't know, and I don't have any instructions about timing or anything of that sort.
Apparently, just this is third hand from Mr. Dygan, so I mean it's very much third hand. So maybe it maybe been lost in translation, but we understand it's actually pretty likely to be moving through to final adoption and publication, because I think it's actually been through committee and is in its sort of final stages of the administrative side of being adopted. So it's quite a late stage draft. We understand.
It does feel like that, if I can say that. I'm sorry, because it's got a photograph of every asset and a brief description. Sorry.
Yes, so I think actually, just wondering whether we ought to put it on as a document then.
Shall I get some information about timing first, and then make a decision?
We could always come back. I mean, the heritage evidence is obviously finished now, but we could get the oral.
Well, I think there should be a note, certainly.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say we could do it in writing.
And it might be that it can be an agreed note, even if it records differences.
I suspect there could be.
Yeah.
From all the experts, I think, would be very helpful.
Definitely.
Shall I get some information on timing?
Yeah.
And then you can reach a decision on whether it should go in yet or wait.
Yes, I think so. Well, Mr. Dygan isn't around at the moment, so
It's possible he'll be finished with his commitments and will come in, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, is there any chance? Because I mean, we've finished now, haven't we? But if we could have a quick comment from him, is it if we have just a little break now, is it possible that you could just find out whether he'd be available to come and
It may be possible. I'm not entirely sure where he is. I think he's in the building, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I've seen him this morning.
Right, you're better informed than I am. So let's have a break and we'll track him down and try and find out.
Just before we do, if unless there's any other bits and pieces.
Well, there's one thing I'm going to say, but
fine, no, fine. Just to say, Mr. Dygan, whose ears are burning now, aren't they? Has sent in this morning to the programme officer, and I'm sure it'll be added, the listing for Bexon and a corrected PDF. It looks like that's now got a star on it, so we're going to need to make sure, and I'm sure the programme officers are listening if they're not here, to make sure the one that's we've got on the website at the moment is actually replaced. I think not added to, but replaced, because we don't want any
incorrect.
It's actually wrong. The
CDs.
On the CDs, sorry, yes, on the CD. So
which CD is it? Just
let me just.
Here she is. Oh no.
Oh no, almost.
Sorry.
One moment, sorry. Yes.
It's what is it? CD.
I'm just going to find where the.
Just so I can tell her exactly.
Lovely, thank you so much.
CD9.
19.38, exactly. So 19.38 is the one that needs replacing
Yes.
with the one that Mr. Digan has just sent through,
Brilliant. Okay.
which
thank
is
you.
lovely. And then, can I just, while we're on just housekeeping, so not heritage housekeeping, but just because I know I'm going to forget, we're still, I think, on our side waiting for one piece of information from the landscape days, which seems, he's here. Here he is, Mr. Digan. I knew if I kept talking long enough, he'd appear. From the landscape evidence, there was that outstanding piece of info about the author of the red line assessment that was appended to the Peter Brett work. And I just don't want it to get forgotten about, as there are so many things going on. But the council was going to tell us, going to try and find out who it was who'd written it, and there was some ambiguity about it.
Right.
Well, ambiguity in the sense of no one knows who wrote it. So yeah, just to renew that request.
Well, subject to him catching his breath. Perhaps Mr. Digan can help with those two things, because I know he looked at. So there are two questions for you.
Okay.
Just go and sit down.
So
one is about do you remember the Peter Brett red line assessment?
Yes.
You looked at that. That's one question, whether there's any more information about that. The other is whether you have any information on the timing for the final approval or publishing of the local list.
And they're slightly interrelated, actually, because it involves the same team. Just starting with the red line assessments, and so I don't have a definitive answer. So what the person that you would really want to ask is the urban design officer that was coordinating the Peter Brett reports. Sadly, she's no longer with us. She died of cancer a couple of years ago. I don't know whether she did the red line assessments or engaged somebody else to do them. Peter Brett say that they did not do them. Land use consultants, that's Miss Ahern, she did not do them. And sorry, that's as far as I've got. And I don't think I'm going to get a further answer because the person that I'd need to ask is no longer here. The second question, I take it, is in relation to the local list. That has been agreed by the relevant council committee. So now, and the minutes reflect that. So now it's a process of mapping those buildings within the geographic information system and the publicly available geographic information system, so that a resident that was interested or may even own one of the properties could realise that their property is actually a non-designated heritage asset. And there is some complexity in terms of doing that and making sure that the locations are very precise. And the person that needs to check it is away on sick leave at the moment. And I can't tell you when she would be back. But what I would say is that it's close, and certainly by July, before the inquiry closes, I would anticipate that the list would be published. So what I did is and I appreciate that it's sort of getting ahead of the publication, but just to circulate the minutes from that council meeting, as well as the list that was presented to them. I mentioned this to the applicant, and they suggested that we put it forward because it could well be something that need to be taken into account by yourself or the Secretary of State.
Right.
The assets aren't going to change.
So the draft is probably will be agreed.
That'll be it, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, in that case, I think, and I don't. Dr. Mealy says that there are only about 4 assets that are going to be on the local list. Sorry, on the local list on both sites. Is that about right, do you think?
So there's the local list, and the applicants' investigations into non-designated heritage assets identified, I think it was 4 or 5 additional assets over and above the ones that the council had identified.
I was told there were about 30.
No, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand that.
No,
I mean,
put the microphone.
Well, I don't want to talk to Mr. Digan directly. I'll talk to you, madam. My understanding was that of the ones we'd identified in the ES to take forward to further assessment, that 4 were on the draft local list. Now that might be, we haven't done the exercise yet, so I can't say that. And I did, in fairness, madam, caveat that and say we hadn't done
No, you
it
did.
thoroughly.
No, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't give you a definitive answer.
And do the exercise, can't we? And
It sounds like the answer is that it sounds like the answer is that the document should go in because it's
Yes, I
as good
think-
as complete, and then the parties can liaise over what these questions of fact, which are the relevant assets, and then what the views are, and reach a joint statement.
But I mean, you obviously know, you know it, the list, and you know the ES. I mean, is it the case that some of the locally listed assets are not, sorry, some of the non-designated heritage assets in the ES won't be appearing on the local list? Is that your understanding?
So yes, the applicant's information is greater than the scope of what is within the local list.
Right, but are there additional assets that will be on the local list that haven't been identified?
No. It's, so you actually, so the applicant's done more than
Righty-ho.
more than enough, as it were.
Right, okay, that's...
It's not the other way where there's items on the list that the applicant hasn't investigated.
So we
They've
don't need any
investigated everything and
further-
more.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, yes, I mean, obviously, the way they're treated is a matter I would hear from the parties on. Yeah?
Can I ask, Mum, would it be your intention that the Rule 6 parties would be part of any joint
of course.
statement?
Definitely.
You've got a heritage expert, haven't you?
Thank you.
So, yes, I mean, we've got Dr. Doggett, we've got Dr. Mealy, and we have got
Miss Soanes.
Miss Soanes.
So we'll try and do a three-way statement
So
and
I
agree everything that we can. And
Yes, and then just put, in fact, like a little bit of a statement of
statement of common ground.
I think
Yep.
would be really
It'll be a
useful.
supplementary
You could
statement.
have points of agreement and points of disagreement, couldn't you?
Yep.
All right, should we have a time? Do we need a time for that? I mean, I think
Some ways, it needs to come before any planning evidence is really the only imperative now.
I think if we could say probably in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That'd be right. Anybody got a date you could give me?
Let's see, if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, that'd be by close of play on Friday the 9th of May.
Is that reasonable for everybody?
It shouldn't be an enormous famous last one. Shouldn't be an enormous.
No, but does
that is
other
that
things
all
that they're
right?
doing, so.
I think so. Miss Soames isn't here, but
okay, is that
fingers
right?
crossed.
Yeah. Right, and yes, definitely 3-way.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, that's very helpful. Thank you. So I think I will change my mind on what I just said earlier. So I think we will include this then as an inquiry document, and then if we get the published version, approved version, whatever, adopted version, we can replace it. Otherwise, it might have to go to the Secretary of State or whatever if it's after the close of the inquiry, depending on when it
Noted.
is. All right.
Thank you.
So is there anything anyone else wants to raise?
Yeah, there is one matter. It concerns Mr. Simons, actually.
What have I done wrong now?
You may know already, but you may not, that in between the last tranche of the inquiry and this tranche, he was formally elevated to Silk.
Yes.
And so he is now Mr. Simons
Casey?
AC, and he's much loved and respected in the profession. And I just thought
Don't go too far.
it should be. This is the only time you'll hear it, so make the most of it. I just
Thank
thought it would be
you.
nice to publicly.
Thank you very
acknowledge
much.
his
That's very,
elevation
very
now that
nice
it's
of you.
Yes, yeah, I did know. I mean, I did actually
You
say
did. Thank you.
congratulations to you, but yeah, that is very good news.
Thank
Well
you
done.
very much indeed. That's going into first line of our closings. Is all about the love and respect. Thank you very much. For saying
Despite Mr. Simons.
Despite the love and respect. Thank you for saying that. That's very
so
kind.
before I let you go, I'm just going to say one other thing, and that is next week, Yvonne, the programme officers are not going to be, they're going to be away on holiday. They're going to have a complete break, as am I. So none of us will be able to answer any emails from you. You can do it. I would suggest you all do the same, actually, but it's up to you. So you won't get any response, or it's
Noted.
unlikely you'll get a response. You can put things in if you want to, that's fine. But I won't be answering anything, and neither will they.
Noted.
Thank you. Mum, I think Councillor Bonney has something she wants to raise.
Yes, Councillor Bonney.
I think we might have a deadline for a document you requested Friday. Legal. Who owns what?
Ah, yes, that is true. Yes, there is the note on, thank you, there is the note on land ownership in relation to the Relief Road.
Oh, was that today?
Oh, well remember. Everyone had managed to forget.
Thank you.
I thought we were going to talk about the novation agreement. Yeah, it's not a note yet. There are two things that we discussed producing. The first one was a plan showing the road north and south, and who has rights over the different areas of land, or ownership of the different areas of land through which the road passes. So yes, sorry, I'm just checking what the status is. The north will be. It's in the office. Oh, we've got it. Yeah, the north we've got here, and the south we've got we have not plotted it all on a plan yet on the south. The answer is on the south that all of the land in the south is within the applicant's control, but
What, the road or
the road, yeah. So yes, but that. Right, okay. plan for the south coming on Monday, but it's going to show that the applicant has ownership over or title.
ownership or optional?
Combination.
Are we going to know who the owners are?
Yeah, we've got a full schedule of that for the north and the south, but the north is ready now, and so can and will and must be circulated. Which
What
we'll
about
do.
the rest of the site apart from the roads? Do we want that or not, or was it just the roads? Everything. Right.
Okay. There you go. There'll be lots of information then. So the northern one's ready, and the southern one is ready, but it's not. The plan's going to follow on Monday. So you won't receive it because you'll be on holiday.
No, so it won't be distributed to anybody. Oh God.
We can circulate. We can.
Well, you can if you want to.
We could circulate it, but you won't receive it till you get back. But that's fine. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes. Okay. That's fine. Yes.
Can you ask to make sure they do include me though?
We'll copy the programme officers in.
Yeah.
I want to talk to it.
Yeah. You don't want to talk to anyone, no?
I said you're not going to. Set your boundaries.
Yeah.
Holiday.
Quite.
So. Yeah.
We'll copy in the programme officer and not expect a
copy in the
response.
programme officer anyway for any of the
Yeah.
correspondence, obviously, but just
Absolutely.
don't expect a response.
Okie dokie.
Is there anything else?
No.
No?
Thank
So
you.
we're back in 2 weeks' time then, on the Tuesday morning at 9:30. Wish you a very happy Easter. Thank you. And, I've got this, yes, I did actually ask Mr Gearing if he could sort out some, the plans for the conservation area just from the appraisals. So you've got those. Great stuff. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you.
Right, good. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
I will adjourn the inquiry. Thank you.